Now we've done our interviews, we have formulated our value proposition, and now we want to give it a real world test. This is probably the most exciting part. I've done a traction test to prepare for this video series, so I'll show you in the next video how I did one very quickly. You'll be surprised how fast you can actually test things. I think it's fascinating. So what is this traction testing? The idea is that we take our value proposition and we put it to the real customer very quickly, and we do that usually with a simple landing page, just a one-page website with a call to action on this to see if people actually click or buy or pre-buy or register for a waiting list, or whatever call to action you think is most appropriate to your particular case. What we're testing with this is mostly value proposition, the messaging, which is usually the thing people think about most when we think about traction testing, but it's only one of the things we are going to test. Another thing is whether we've got the right audience for this value proposition, whether they are people we have in mind who would be interested in this actually are the ones who will be. And it gets even more interesting because we are also testing, and this is something very important, we are also testing the acquisition channels. This is where we go from theory of, the business model canvas, we're going to acquire people here and here, to the reality of it. Where do we actually get the people to bring them to the page? Your first landing page and the first traction test is going to be based on the best guess you have, based on the validation work you've done. You've already done a lot of work testing your assumptions, trying to understand the customer, where they are, what they care about, what they are interested in. So you formulate your best guess, you put it together, and this is your first traction test. You can do A/B testing as well, but I suggest for the first testing, just make it simple, put together the best you can, and see how that does. From the previous work we've done, we know what our value proposition is. Hopefully you've seen some examples from the mirror as well. We have an audience in mind, because there were some people you were interviewing. You should have a good idea of what audience you want to target. And the question people struggle most with are the channels. This is why I suggested you ask people in the interview about their behavior with having the channels in mind. But if you're still struggling, I'm going to give you a quick framework of what to think about when you're thinking about your channels. There are a couple of things to consider here. Number one is your ability to target. How targeted is this channel? Can you find these people specifically, or is it quite broad? Second thing is cost. Obviously, you might have a very limited budget. There are ways to do the test completely for free, and I'll show you how I've driven good amount of traffic to the website without much effort and without paying any money. There is a lot of marketing that actually doesn't cost much that you might want to think about when thinking about how to target your users. The third thing is input time. How long does it take you to actually go for the channel? The output time is how long does it take them to go from the channel to you. Then how much control do you have? Can you turn it on and off? That could be also important, especially if you want to do limited time testing. And the last one is how wide of a reach you're going to get. And obviously there is no perfect marketing channel. You're kind of trying to balance the 6 and find the one that works for you, but those are just some things to consider. And if you are looking for inspiration or kind of a list of marketing channels, in the link below, I'm linking you to our Miro board that under the traction testing has a framework that would help you choose from the 19 different marketing channels that we outlined there. And this is it on traction testing. And in the next video, I will show you how I did a traction test where I put together a landing page in under half an hour. And within a couple of days, I got some traffic and some conversion as well. Stay tuned for more.